Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. And I have a topic that's been rumbling on in my mind for a while, and I think it's time to talk about it. Just think about it. Why are we in a swamped? Why are we swamped in an isekai bubble in terms of anime? Recently, it feels like every new anime that comes out, every new season, there's like 20 million isekai animes coming out. And it's like, why? Why is that so popular? Why is that the only thing that seems to be being produced nowadays out in Japan and all the animation studios, right? And I've thought about this for a while. I've done a little bit of research. I just want to talk about it a little bit, see what you guys think, right? So, if you're not familiar, right, an isekai anime is basically a reincarnation set of scenario where somebody in the current life, in the modern life, dies or transfers to a different world, usually a fantasy world, and then there they pick up the adventures and try to become a special somebody when in their previous life they may have not been that person, right? And I get why that can resonate with a lot of people, because a lot of people maybe in Japan or around the world feel like, oh, they're just going through life being, insignificant, or not achieving much, and maybe this is a way for them to express the freedom that they've never had, or live life through vicariously through the adventure, right? I get why it's popular. But I remember growing up watching anime, watching Dragon Ball Z, living through the Naruto era, the Naruto Bleach, One Piece era. And back then, like, isekais were there, but they weren't as prevalent as they are today. Like today, you scroll Crunchyroll, like the first popular top animes are isekai animes, and it's been like that for last few years. I just want to talk about, like, why that's the case, and maybe shed some light on what's going on there. And even though there's a lot of them, I find a couple that are good, but they're not a, that's just my thoughts personally. But yeah, so let's get started. So I was just doing a quick, like, little research, try to pull up some stats on, hey, what's going on. Like, if I remember Crunchyroll coming out in the early 2000s, probably like the sixes when I remember kind of came out. Back then, when I used to watch anime, you have to go to, like, websites or TV or whatever, but there wasn't like a platform that was out there, like, you could watch anime strictly. And then Crunchyroll kind of popped up. Hulu was the thing, but Hulu was, I used to go there for TV shows and movies and anime. And then Crunchyroll came out of nowhere, and was became that platform that I used to watch anime, especially a lot of Naruto, and Bleach and stuff like that. And back then, if you just look at 2006 when this kind of started, like, the best, the top anime genre was battle shonen, which makes sense, right? Naruto, Bleach, One Piece were kings back then, and mecha anime, mecha sci-fi, right? And then uh, the second top genre was psychological thriller mystery, and then you had slice of life rom-com. And you can kind of say some isekai fit into some of those genres, but it wasn't like a category on its own back then, right? So back then you'd be like Death Note, Code Geass, Naruto, Bleach. Those are the kind of stuff that was out there, right? The big stuff that got out of the notoriety. And then, like, in 2026, it's like, okay, dark fantasy battle shonen. Yeah, battle shonen is endured. It's still there. One Piece is still dominating. Like, yeah. What's that show that just came out? Oh man, it just slipped my mind. But yeah, like, the big fight animes are always dominating, right? But then, you have, you know isekai and high fantasy is number two now, right? In Crunchyroll, like, a lot of people like isekai genre. It's a big genre, and it's its own thing right now. Like, a lot of shows fall in that category. Like, right now, if you want to look at modern shows, like, Reincarnated as a Slime is a big one, right? Shield Hero, I think, falls under that category. Yeah, so many different manga fall under that category, right? And then, you have, like, the rom-coms, which are still enduring, right? And now, yeah, like Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen is more like a battle shonen anime. Demon Slayer, same thing. Chainsaw Man is the same thing. And then you have, like, One Piece holding it down in the shonen anime factor. But then you got the big isekai animes. Redo, what's the one? Like, yeah, there's so many of them, like I said earlier. So yeah, that's how it's going right now. It's kind of crazy how things have changed, right? Like, if you look at it, it's like, wow, so many things have changed, right? From what it was now to now. Yeah, like Ray Zero, big um, big isekai anime. Reincarnated Slime, which is one of my personal favorite series, especially in the beginning. I really enjoy like season 1 and season 2. Season 3 was kind of meh. Season 4 I'm watching is kind of meh right now, but the first 2 seasons were really good. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. I actually enjoyed this show. I watched the first 2 seasons. I haven't watched the 3rd season yet, but that was a good show too. And that's a popular one. That's also like a reincarnation anime, right? And the thing is, like, I'm not saying I hate all isekai anime. Like, obviously I enjoy a couple, but I think there's an oversaturation, I feel, of so many different types. And yeah, it's something to watch for, right? Like, you know, if you go to the most popular, like Crunchyroll, the popular ones, right? You have, yeah, Fearing, that's not an isekai. You have like the ones that are enduring, but then a lot of them, like, yeah, this I Got a Cheat Skill, I think that's an isekai. You know, definitely, if we could come in here, Reincarnated Slime's a big isekai one. Solo Leveling, I don't think you could consider that isekai. That's more like an action shonen one. That's really good, actually. That's what I was thinking about earlier, actually. So that's a good one. Dr. Stone is kind of like kind of isekai, but not really, you know. But like, you see the big popular ones. Some of them are enduring stuff. So like Mushoku Tensei, that's a isekai. The beginning to the end, that's also a isekai, right? Ray Zero, big isekai. So yes, so it's a mix of old classic shows and a classic isekais, but a lot of isekai stuff in here too, right? And these are the popular ones, right? If you look at the new animes, there's a lot of them in here too, right? Like, if you go looking, like, a lot of these shows can be isekais if you if you just think about it the way a lot of them have to do with reincarnation, death, and being reborn, right? And that's a popular genre nowadays. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting, right? Just to see like what's really going on there. And I just think it's a trend. I think there's an oversaturation personally of isekai type animes, but you know, you guys let me know what you think about that. Yeah, and you know, just to continue on my thoughts, I didn't want to just espouse my feelings and, you know, just the way I think about things. I wanted to just do a little bit of research, just show a little bit of stats and numbers and details behind my thinking, right? Why I feel like we're oversaturated isekai. And I don't know if it's a good thing, because personally, I found out a lot of them come out and a lot of them aren't like that good personally. But there are a couple that I do think are good. Like I said, like Reincarnated Slime, that's a good one. I like that. I like Busho Tensho, you know, that one, Jobless Reincarnation. And another one that I really like, I saw recently, is actually Eminence Shadow. It's on High Dive, and that's a really good one. It's interesting to me anyways. I enjoy that one a lot. So I do enjoy a couple, but they're dime a dozen. I find one every other like 20 ones I go through every season. So this just kind of shows an example of like what happened in terms of the isekai craze. Like, for instance, Kadokawa, if you know, very big anime and manga publisher, and they have, you know, kind of been talking about how, like, hey, we've been relying on winning patterns, which is you know, led to a lack of original quality, especially talking about like isekai genre, which is like what they've been relying on for a while. And you can see last year they made 8.37 billion yen, and then they're forecasting about a 51% drop in that, right? Due to the I guess the oversaturation of isekai, and the market kind of starting to get a little tired of them coming out and sometimes lacking originality, right? So it kind of started the whole portal fantasy anime trope kind of started back in literature, right? So Alice in Wizard of Oz, and then in Japan it kind of started with you know, the Urashima Taro stories and the Aura Battle dumping. The word isekai kind of comes from saying physical transition from one world to the other, right? Then between 2004 and 2012, it became like kind of like an RPGized mechanic. So like it became like a video game type of term where they made it into a gaming system, like an RPG, like where you always transfer to a new world and you learn new skills and get new powers, and they try to make that the big catalyst for in anime stories as well. And Sword Art Online was really one of the big ones that really one of the big isekais that the big modern isekais I remember seeing, because I remember watching Sword Art Online, especially the first half of season 1 was amazing. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Second half of season 1 was kind of on, and the seasons after that I kind of fell off. I didn't really like them too much. But Sword Art Online, when it first came out, that first, like, I don't remember how many episodes, maybe 6, maybe 12 episodes or so, 12, 13 episodes, whatever the first half of the first season was. That was really amazing. And it kind of created this thing where it's like, oh, you can do an isekai game, mechanicize it like an MMORPG type style, and then it'll be really popular. And that's kind of, I remember, one of the big things that pushed the genre forward, right? And then, we've been through that, where we've been through the shoujo area, and that was, I remember that times, man. A lot of good different shows, different organic world building, different unique stories, different things coming out of it. But then now it's kind of like in the current era of anime, it's a lot of, hey, you gotta escape from this world, my world sucks. I got cheat skills, I'm special in some way. There's got to be a harem in there somehow, where I'm the guy and I get all the ladies, and game mechanics, UIs in literal MMO style, right? That's kind of what it's become now, right? It used to be a little bit more unique and different back then. So even though like isekais are big, like if you look at it, like 15% of all anime is, it feels like there's more than that, but to be fair, it is only about 15% of anime that is isekai proper in current world. But still, it's like a lot, right? It's a big percentage, and a lot of it back in 2015 it used to come from like light novels and manga, but now it's like mostly like 76% of it is from light novels, web novels. So it's become a very formulaic type thing. Like it's like, oh, like, let's put this out there. It has these, web novel coming out with this concept, and it's a formulaic thing. It's like it's a system, and it's all set in this fantasy world, and attractive women there, and the male lead is usually someone who didn't have that back home, and now he's loved by the women there because he has some special abilities. It's the kind of the same thing, right? And now it's like we've gotten to a place where they're all 12 episodes, 12 episode seasons, where it's like you're just supposed to pump it out, get the audience liking it. If it's great, then we'll make 12 more episodes in 2 years, which that's another part of modern anime, which is frustrating to me a little bit, because I don't like the fact that it takes so long sometimes between seasons. You can have a good season 1, take like 2-3 years, a new season comes out and it's not as good, right? But anyways, that's a side conversation. So yeah, I mean, it's become very SEO rise. Everything is like, traditional RPG systems. You have your strength, magic, agility. Like it's just become formulaic. Like every isekai is like, oh, I'm in an MMORPG world. I have MMORPG skills, and it's very formulaic, and that's kind of, I think it's wearing down the audience, especially long-time anime watchers like myself. We're kind of like, every time we see another one, we're kind of ignoring a little bit. It's like, yeah. A lot of these guys is the same thing. It's like, oh, we were burnt out in real life because real life sucks. We want somewhere else where we can go. For to be fair, for a lot of the audience of isekais, if you just survey them, a lot of them are like, oh yeah, the real world sucks, so yeah, we can resonate with what's going on right here in the isekai. Some are like, oh, I want to kind of escape what's really going on because the world isn't great, and then there's passive consumption as well. But yeah, it's just the current audience for isekai, right? So the thing about it is like, a lot of these, there's a lot that comes out, like I told you on if you watch Crunchyroll, there's a lot of different ones that come out every year. And if you look at it, it's like, oh man, there's a lot of shows that come out, but only a couple resonate. Like Mushoku Tensei, yeah, that resonated because that's great. Ray Zero, yeah, that resonated. Konosuba, that resonated, right? And those ones are the ones that kind of are unique isekai, so they do something different from like the standard, you know, standard boring isekai. They're like, oh, like they subvert expectation, or they parody it, or they do something unique in that space. And those are the ones I kind of gravitate to. Like I like Mushoku Tensei. I really enjoyed Konosuba. Slime is interesting. Like Eminence in Shadow is a little bit different than the standard isekai, so that's why I enjoy those shows, and that's I think what the market reflects that as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of these shows coming, and then 2026, you can see Kadokawa's Crash is just like, yeah, we've kind of maybe we've reached a point where there's too much of this stuff, this oversaturation of these shows, so we need to restructure it, and you can kind of see with with Kadokawa's, you know, uh, forecasts of what's happening this year with their light manga and anime, which are kind of isekai based, where it's heading, not a, not in a good direction. Maybe the market is kind of finally showing their apathy or their exhaustion of the same tropes, right? So maybe that'll be a change, but we don't know yet. We'll see what happens if the anime industry like um corrects themselves, right? So yeah, man, interesting times. It's a lot of stuff going on, but let's see if this is just maybe one publisher's issue. Maybe it's a Kadokawa issue only, right? But maybe it's not. Maybe it's a whole anime and manga industry problem with the apathy that was isekai anime. I myself, like I said, there are a couple that I like, but a lot of them that come out I do not care for. And I feel like there's personally a little bit oversaturation of that genre myself. I like to go back to having some more unique, different animes. But that's just me talking as an anime watcher and lover. And we'll hope to see what happens next. So those are my thoughts on the current isekai oversaturation we have, and maybe what we can do to fix that. But yeah, if you like this video, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you later on the next one. And remember, Jesus loves you.